Hi, everyone. As I said, my name is Haley. I'm here from ProWritingAid, and thank you so much for joining us for another session in the ProWritingAid series for writers. My guest today is Ramzi Hajj. Prior to founding Storiad, Ramzi was an economist studying market inefficiencies. He built Storyad to address the many inefficiencies he found in the book publishing market. His own book, Gutter Snaps, is due for release later this year, and he is, of course, using Storyad to pre-market his book. Welcome, Ramzi. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Haley. I very much appreciate it. And also thank you very much to Lisa for inviting Storiad to be a panelist on this webinar. As Haley said, my name is Ramzi, and I am the founder of Storiad. Today, we're going to talk about practical book marketing. We will be discussing the practical and affordable things authors can do to build and manage effective online book promotion campaigns. And by effective, I mean an online book promotion campaign that increases your book sales. This presentation will help you think through why it is important to promote your book online and what you need to do to become an effective online book promoter. Now, marketing software is readily available and reasonably priced, as is the training and guidance on how best to use the software profitably. As for all the fun stuff like creativity, dedication, and commitment needed to run a book promotion campaign, well, that of course is up to you, the author. So we'll go through the why and the what of book promotion and conclude with the how. How do you use available software to become an effective and profitable promoter of your book? Okay, without further ado, here we go. There we go, sorry about that. All right, book marketing can be tricky, but it doesn't have to be. You're out there competing against a lot of other authors and their books. You're probably not receiving much in the way of support from outside parties. You probably have a limited marketing budget. You're probably less than pleased with your book sales. And perhaps that's why you are attending this webinar. Well, we are here to help you find solutions. This presentation will help you make sense of book marketing and what to do to get your book discovered, reviewed, recommended, and bought. Conceptually, book marketing is not complex. It comes down to this inescapable fact. The more people are aware of your book, the higher the probability it will get reviewed, recommended, and bought. Now, getting your book discovered, reviewed, recommended, and bought, that is where your time and effort will be focused. The more you know what to do and how to do it, the more your book will get reviewed, recommended, and bought. So let's dive in. The book selling market has three essential lessons to offer. One, every book has a market. Two, book reviews, recommendations, and sales are directly correlated to the level of the book's exposure. And three, whereas the book marketing tools authors use to market their books are important, it is the planning, knowledge base, and time commitment authors bring to marketing their books that make all the difference. The tools are simply means to that end. We cannot stress that last point strongly enough. Tools are super important, yes, but the planning, the skill, and the time commitment to using the tools properly over a sustained period of time will make all the difference between so-so book sales and really great book sales. Please keep this in mind as we move through this presentation. Okay, now you can huff, you can puff, but the bottom line is you need a plan. Your book has a pretty unique market, fiction or nonfiction. There's going to be a lot of people who want to read, review, recommend, and buy your book. The trick, of course, is in finding and communicating with those people. To do all that finding and communicating, you're going to need a digital book marketing campaign. Think of that as the tool and the practice in using that tool over a sustained period of time. Think of your plan as the literal steps you have to take as you go about finding and contacting those people who are going to review, recommend, and buy your book. The more people who know about you and your book, the higher the probability it will get reviewed, recommended, and bought. That's pretty much how the book marketing world works. Here is a slide with arrows. Arrows indicate a process. A process tends to work best with a plan. So here is your plan in a nutshell. Get all your book marketing stuff organized, connect with people on a professional give and take basis, find out who is most likely to want to, ready for it, read, review, recommend, and buy your book. These people are your target market. And finally, communicate with these people with the right message at the right time. Getting organized finds you creating marketing assets to tell your book story in a clear, compelling narrative. This is also the time to establish your expense and time budgets to better manage your book marketing campaign over an extended period of time. So we will discuss your budgeting considerations later in this presentation. Your plan is all about connecting with different people with different pieces of useful information. An effective networking strategy finds you providing value to and asking value from like-minded people. An effective research strategy helps you understand who your target audiences are, where to find them, how to contact them, and most importantly, what to say to them. And when you finally reach the marketing outreach phase of promoting and selling your book to your target audiences, everything will be running smoothly. Your plan establishes the sequential steps you'll be taking as you move about the organizing, networking, researching, and marketing phases of your campaign. Next, it's time to start organizing your story. This one is fairly straightforward. Here are the basics. Take everything you have that relates to you and your book and put them in one place. If you don't have some of the items listed on the screen, develop them. If you can think of other marketing assets not listed here, take some time to develop those items as well, especially video assets. People love watching videos. Give them something interesting to watch. For now, we'll focus on how every marketing asset makes your book more accessible to your audiences, especially when combined into a compelling narrative. Let's discuss this next. Okay. Here we are. This is where you tell the story of your story. We highly recommend using a digital media kit. It is the easiest and quickest way to arrange all your marketing assets in one neat and attractive package. Like all great storytelling, it's important to arrange your information in such a way as to grab and keep your audience's attention. And of course, to get them to take an interest in your book. Think how really good advertising works. As Nigel Hollis in The Atlantic observed, successful advertising rarely succeeds through argument or calls to action. Instead, it creates positive memories and feelings that influence our behavior over time to encourage us to buy something at a later date. And that is exactly what your narrative, your ad, your media kit should be designed to do, to make reviewing, recommending, and buying your book something valuable, necessary, exciting, joyful. And remember, different audience groups will require different marketing messages. So we gently suggest creating multiple media kits to speak to different groups of people who may derive different value from your book. Okay, next we have networking. Networking is super extra important for your book marketing career. Most of you are already doing social media stuff in one form or another, so you're definitely on the right track. All we'd like to say in this regard is focus less on using your social media channels to exclusively promote your book and use it more to provide people with useful information. If you write fiction, be an entertainer, a storyteller. If you write nonfiction, be an educator, a resource. This sort of give and take is a proven way to connect with people on a value level, as they say, and to grow a meaningful and sustainable network. Networks take time to develop, of course, but you will find that an active and expanding network to be invaluable. Okay, on to research. segmenting your market, keyword searching, organizing contact information into lists. These are the kinds of things you'll be doing in the research phase of your plan. Here are the questions your research seeks to answer. 1, who is most likely to want to read, review, recommend, and buy your book? Our favorite question. 2, where can we find them? 3, how do we contact them? And 4, what do you say to them? We won't sugarcoat the research phase of your plan. You'll be spending lots and lots of time here, but it's worth it. If you want to find a way to make, say, 10,000 people aware of your book, you're going to have to find the right people to help you do that. And that's where your research, and that's what your research is all about, finding the right people. The more organized your approach to researching and categorizing your search results, the more successful you'll be. And remember, there are many, many, many people out there who would absolutely love to know about you and your book. Your mission is to find them and communicate with them. We'll start with a negative. Don't spam people through email and social media blasts. It doesn't work, you'll be ignored, and it'll make you sad. Instead, customize each message you send on whatever communication platform you're using. The goal is to get them to click on your Media Kit link to learn more about you and your book. So give them a great reason to click on your Media Kit. And that reason usually has to do with convincing them that it's worthwhile to click on that Media Kit link. Think back to what we said about how really good advertising creates positive memories and feelings that influence our behavior over time to encourage us to buy something at a later date. The more the messaging speaks to your target audience directly, the higher the probability it is they will interact with your Media Kit, learn more about you and your book, and make the decision to review, recommend, and buy your book. So the messaging phase of your plan comes down to you being your charming, professional, well-spoken, convincing self. As a writer, using words to move people comes easily, right? So write creative, memorable, customized messages, and most importantly, have fun doing it. Now, video is getting its very own slide because we love the concept of the bookstore author event. The downside to these events are, 1, they're usually held in small venues. 2, they can get expensive, especially if you have to travel away from home. 3, they're kind of hard to record for future marketing use. And 4, one dreaded word, COVID. Yes, hooray. Anyway, with a virtual author event, on the other hand, you don't have to worry about any of that. You can record the event in advance, host as many events as you'd like, have a live question and answer period afterwards, collect contact emails, and best of all, put the recorded event on YouTube or Vimeo for future marketing use. So video has the potential to make the networking, researching, and marketing components of your plan really hum. So join a webinar platform, script your presentation, practice, 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 host multiple events, chat with lots of readers, ask lots of questions, collect lots of information, and most importantly, keep at it. Get creative. And once again, don't forget to have fun. Okay, money and time. Hooray, here we go. Here's the bottom line. Running a digital book marketing campaign is going to cost you some money and lots of time. There's no way around this one, but it doesn't have to be a crazy amount of money. There are plenty of low-cost do-it-yourself options out there. This slide shows a few representative apps and services. Authors use these apps and services to make themselves better, more organized, more efficient, and more profitable book marketers. The more you study book marketing and the more time you spend running your campaign, the better you're going to get at running a digital book marketing campaign. But the best thing of all is that the fate of your book is in your hands. And there is nothing quite like having control over a book's fate to make an author happy. And that's, of course, where a good plan comes in. As for the how to use online tools to become an effective book marketer, I'll make a brief introduction to Storiad, my company. With Storyad, you have access to all the tools you'll need to run a systematic and profitable book marketing campaign. Now you can promote your backlist titles, current titles, and forthcoming titles all from the same place, all for a truly affordable price. At Storiad, we are committed to making it as easy as possible to run smart, systematic, and affordable book marketing campaigns. The book marketing campaign you need to get your book reviewed, recommended, and bought. Whereas the book marketing tools authors use to market their books are important, it is the planning, knowledge base, and time commitment authors bring to marketing their books that make all the difference. The tools are simply the means to that end. Storyad offers all the apps, training, and support you need to run the type of digital book marketing campaign we've discussed in this presentation. Next, I'd like to run through a quick demo of Storyad to see how you can use Storyad to build and run an effective online book marketing campaign. Okay, here we go. Okie doke. This is the Storyad dashboard. And when you first come onto Storyad, and this is the Storyad Pro version, when you first come onto Storyad, we're going to walk you through a directed process of collecting information about you. That would be the author, all the information that pertains to you, the author. And then we're going to collect information that pertains to your book. Now, this is something called the project portfolio. And as you can see here from our F. Scott Fitzgerald demo account, you can upload as many books as you want. And this is a great way to promote your backlist titles, your current titles, and your forthcoming titles. And when you first start, it's going to prompt you for all sorts of information that relates to your book, videos, links, advanced review copies, any sort of downloads you want to add metadata, etc. So that's very straightforward, a lot of copy and paste, a lot of drag and drop. Just to cheat very quickly, I'll show you what a completed version looks like. And this is for this side of paradise, as you can see, very straightforward. So once the information has been entered, added, you're going to want to create an ePress kit, which is the digital media kit. In the bottom left-hand corner, all you do is click Create a new ePress kit. And all the information that you've entered about you and your book is auto-populated in a template. And this template is WordPress-based. And as many of you know, the vast majority of websites and blogs out there are WordPress-based. So it is very easy. Uh-oh, my internet is a little slow. It's very easy to customize and to customize, to make it more, to move elements around. You can pretty much do whatever it is you want to do with it. You have your videos, you have your links here, for example. So if you look at this particular link, you'll see that it already has an advanced review copy, say a PDF that was uploaded earlier in your projects. Anyway, so customize it anyway. You are limited by your imagination on how this thing looks, and of course, you can always go for a new template in the edit bar. I will move along here very quickly. I'll discard the changes, and as we mentioned sorry, things are moving slowly. As we mentioned in the presentation, different target audiences require different messaging, and with Storyad you can create as many digital media kits as you want right here. Simply click on it to change the URL for version control. You can, once you make your edits, you can clone your new template, your own version, so you don't have to keep redoing your versions over and over again. And of course, if you want it as a PDF, you can click on download, and you'll get a PDF version of your ePress kit. The next you want to do, and this is very, very important, is the marketing plan. So every title gets its own marketing plan. In this case, we click create a new one here, and this launches something called the Storyad Marketing Plan Wizard. And what this is designed to do is to help those authors who know that they have to market their books, but are not necessarily sure how to go about doing it. So we're going to walk them through an extended version of the presentation of why it's important to book market, what you need to do to become an effective book marketer, and most importantly, how to use Storyad to become an effective book marketer to sell more books. So as you move through the marketing plan widget, it's going to ask you a series of questions about, about your book. What is your book about? What is your target audience? How does your target audience learn about your book? And as you can see, we want the author to think more and more like a small business person, to think about their book as a valuable economic asset. And these questions, they're not exhaustive. They're just, once again, just trying to get you to walk through the process of thinking from a business perspective about your book. How does your target audience spend their time? And perhaps most importantly, what's the best way to reach your target audience? And when you're done, you can go to a further edit page here, and you'll see here that your plan consists of a networking component, a research component, and a marketing component. So you can provide your further edits. And then once you're ready, you can click on View Plan, and here is your marketing plan. Now, this is, I hope I'm not scrolling too fast, because I know that there's a Zoom lag sometimes, but as you can see, it's rather extensive. And what we've designed to do is it's designed to be very, very, very practical. It's designed to be a blueprint that can be used as a springboard to create to start with a marketing plan, and then, customize it as you see fit for your particular work. A lot of 1, 2, 3s, a lot of bullet points, a lot of external links, because, clearly it's important to keep learning, continuing education about your book marketing and your target market, etc. And as you can see here, we try to place the marketing plan within the context of your Storyad account. So as you're going through it, we will help you build a better, stronger, more powerful campaign. Now, we know, empirically, at Storyad, statistically, that those authors who create a plan and who follow it and refer to it and come back to it often do very, very, very well, and end up being very successful book marketers. Those authors who either don't create a marketing plan or create one and don't really give it enough time, don't do as well. And a lot of times there is frustration, and we get, when we talk with them, we know that they haven't been following the plan. They sort of pursue things in a very ad hoc way, which unfortunately in book marketing, as in most things, it doesn't really get the results that they're looking for. Okay, so that's the marketing plan. You can always poke around with it later if you'd like. Of course, if you want your marketing plan as a PDF, simply click download. It'll save a PDF to your desktop. Okay, so now we have our marketing plan, we have our digital media kits, and it's looking really good. The next thing we want to do is we want to start doing our outreach. This is the part in the presentation we talked about, finding those people most likely to want to read, review, recommend, and buy your book. And this is how it all starts. So when you first go to outreach, you're going to come to the Storyad book industry contacts database, which currently has around 41,000, a little over 41,000 records. What we've done is we've replicated a search that an author may undertake as they go about trying to find those people most likely to want to, once again, read, review, recommend, and buy the book. And we've taken all 41,000 plus records, and we've organized them into something we call category silos. Under contact type, you click category silos. And I think we have around 252 or so category silos. I could be mistaken, because it's constantly being updated and revised. So as you can see here, it's quite descriptive, and some of them are a bit more generally descriptive, like bloggers and reviewers. We'll start here. So click on this, you hit submit. You can, of course, always do a refined keyword search. And as you can see here, for bloggers and reviewers, we just returned around 5,700 contacts. So this by itself just saved you probably several hundred hours of researching and saving information. And of course, you'll be spending a lot of time on the research, which is a very integral part of any book promotion campaign, is doing the research, finding the right people. And it ends up becoming an exercise in list creation. And we help you with the list creation by click on the star. You hit manage lists, you give it a nice descriptive name like list 4. All right, so now when you go to, let's say, beauty and ruins, you say, up there, I want, Bob seems to know what he's doing. He might be interested in my book. I'm going to put him in list 1. And as you can see, what we're trying to do is we try to have a description of the contact. We try to have a contact name, a contact method, sometimes be an email, sometimes be a URL, and of course a contact website. We go further down. We say, all right, Melissa, I think she may be interested in my book. And we'll go down to, we think maybe Sarah as well be interested in my book. And finally, I think Stacy also. And as you can see here, now we have list 4 is checked off. Okay, so as you can imagine, this takes time to go through because you still have to read each one and figure out which one is going to be most relevant to your book. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit and we're going to move on to the messaging component. Now the messaging component works very similarly to Mailchimp, which I know everyone is familiar with. Mailchimp is an email integration application. So we're doing the same thing here. Nothing new or out of the ordinary. The only difference is it's within the context of your Storyad platform and your book marketing outreach campaign. So the first thing the system is going to ask you is, which project are we talking about? And this goes back to, marketing your backlist current and forthcoming titles off in the same place. So in this case, let's say we're looking at This Side of Paradise, and it's going to say, which list are we talking about? Well, we're going to pick list 4. Of course, you'll have a descriptive name here for it. It'll give you a very quick overview of who's on that list. And then off you go to template. And the idea of the template is nobody likes a blank page. So you can either create your own blank one, or we have a bunch of global templates here set up. You can start with the global one and then save it as your own, which the vast majority of people do. And here is your blank. Here is your template, and you can see it's drawing information from all over your platform. So we'll call this test email. Now we in the marketing plan, we tell people, please, whatever you do, do not send this email out like this, because it's this is just bare bones. So here it's going to allow you to really customize it and make it a very professional sounding email, because really it's a business transaction. You're asking Bob to consider your book, perhaps to share with his followers, who perhaps his blog or his magazine, whatever the case may be, is his livelihood. So he wants good, attractive, powerful content to share with his followers. And this is where you come in with your professional email. And so customize it. Here's the link to your press kit, which is of course the backbone to your campaign. Here is the contact. You have just a quick overview. Here's the name, the email. You can pop over to check out his blog. The system is constantly checking to see if you've sent an email already, and you can of course toggle between the different messages. So although it's going to Bob at his Gmail account and it's going through our email server, it's going to show up as if it's coming from, in this case, F. Scott's Hotmail account. And then when Bob responds to you, it responds straight to your Hotmail account. Okay, so that's the email integration feature. There's a video events feature, which works very much like Zoom, and this goes to the heart of what we talked about, the virtual author event. And especially now in this age of COVID, you set up an event and sometime in the future, you get a unique URL, you market that URL, and then when the time comes, you come onto your site, you host your site you host your event through Storyad. You can share all your links, you can talk with your readers, whoever you're presenting to. So, think of it as a bookstore event, but, without all the expenses and masks and hand sanitizing. Okay, so that's the video event. I'll pop over back to the dashboard. There is a networking component, which works very much like LinkedIn, a bit more bare bones than LinkedIn, but you can connect with other people on the Storyad network, other authors, editors, publishers, agents, bloggers, anybody on here. You can create groups, private groups, semi-private groups, public groups, whatever you'd like. We have a series of calculators, And these calculators are, once again, designed to help authors think in terms of economics, think in terms of their book as a business. I'll give you an example of one. We'll click on what's my book worth calculator. And this one is going to give you, shoot. Okay. This is the what's my book worth calculator, and we created this really because we were getting a lot of questions from authors asking us, well, what's my book worth? And our answer is always the same. And the answer is it depends on how many books you sell. If you sell 50 books a year, unfortunately, it's not worth very much. If you sell, say, 5,000 books a year, suddenly it's worth a lot more. And in this day of on-demand printing and self-publishing, there's absolutely no reason why a book cannot have an economic life of 10 years plus. Really, it depends on how much time and effort you put forth into marketing your book, on a yearly basis. So that's the what's my book calculator. There's a P&L calculator and all sorts of other calculators there that you can poke around with this if you'd like later. And finally, under the guidance tab, we have something called the Storyad Learning Management System. And this is a series of self-directed online courses, once again, designed to help you to become better, more effective book marketers. The courses are very user-friendly. They're usually, you no more than 45 minutes for each one. You sign up and then you go through each lesson. There's nobody's watching, there's no grading, you take your time, and really, again, it's designed to help you become a better book marketer. Haley, for example, and ProWritingAid are putting on a very nice course for us, so we'll be uploading that as soon as we have it. So make sure you check that out. And finally, we are back to our dashboard, and that is the Storyad demo there. Let me pop back to this. All right, so that was the demo, and I just wanted to leave everyone with a friendly reminder that every book has a market. Book exposure results in book sales, and your book marketing tools are means to an end. And that end, of course, is you selling lots of books. The creativity and time commitment are 100% up to you. But we know that you want your book to succeed, and you'll find the time. The fate of your book is truly in your hands, and that is the absolute best place for it to be. If you would like to try Storyad for yourself, please pop by our site and use this coupon code to get started with Storyad Pro. The Pro version is what we just previewed. There's also a free version available. It has less features though. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this has been helpful. And thank you again to Lisa and Haley and ProWritingAid. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Yeah, so it looks like we had a couple questions come through. So somebody asked about the special discount. So yes, you can use PWA25 to get 25% off Storyad Pro. Here's another question that says, I'm not a novel book stage as of yet. However, I am writing short stories. Is there a benefit to your program to promote and market an author working in the short story space, maybe publishing on WordPress?
You know, I'm glad you asked that, because my book, Gutter Snaps, is a collection of short stories being published by Montag Press. And I'm using Storyad to go out, using the Storyad platform to go out there with, getting pre-sales and free reviews and sending it out to, there are a lot of bloggers out there and a lot of magazines out there and a lot of book clubs, et cetera, that specialize or just focused on short stories. So the short story market does exist. And of course, the key thing is to find it. So whoever asked that question, please do feel free to drop me an email. I'd love to share with you the strategies I've used to go out there and get pre-reviews lined up and pre-orders, because it's very possible, once again, but it's just really a question of doing the legwork.
Great. Okay, another question. How relevant is your software for UK only publishing?
It's relevant in the sense that the software is relevant no matter where you are. It tends to be English centric because everything on the platform is English. So there's that. We have a lot of people in the UK, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. A few people from India and a few from South Africa. The database itself has UK contacts in it, but the majority of the contacts are US based. But that does not mean that we would not be able to go in, because we do a lot of research support, and there is a place on the research in the database tab where we will do research for you. You just have to tell us what you're looking for, and we will go out and do that research for you. But that being said, a UK-based author is going to obviously be interested in the UK market, but there's also a good chance that their book may find an audience in North America or in Australia and New Zealand.
Great. Elizabeth asked, does Storyad only work with Mailchimp? Will it work with ConvertKit?
No, it doesn't. It's the email integration it works like Mailchimp. The email integration that I just went through is part of the Storyad platform. So the emails that you're sending out all go out through Storyad. Now, of course, you can do a Mailchimp campaign as well if you have your own contact list. But the Storyad email integration application is separate and distinct from Mailchimp. I just said Mailchimp because I was trying to draw a comparison. So they are separate, and everything Storyad does doesn't involve other software platforms.
Yeah, so it will work in parallel with whatever email marketing service you have. Lisa asks, is the discount only for 1 month, because it looks like it charges monthly and she didn't see any other options on her phone?
No, it is monthly. It's $35 a month, but with your 25% off, you get 25% off. The first 7 days are free, and cancel anytime. And the 25% is for as long as you want to use Storyad.
Awesome. And then someone in the chat just asked for the email address about the short stories that you were just talking about.
It's my first name, Ramzi, 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 at Storyad.com.
Just drop that in the chat for everybody.
Right.
We have a few more minutes if anyone else has any questions for Ramzi. A number of people are saying, I'm sold, we're signing up today. So very excited.
But if you do sign up, please remember to check your email, because we send an onboarding email. And in the onboarding email is a checklist of things to do just to get started and get going on the right foot. And just a lot of sort of get the stuff out of the way kind of stuff. So there are a lot of videos there you can watch, and this video, you may see something similar to it on there as well, that we put up, because after all said and done, really, the more you know initially, the easier it's going to be to run things, 2 weeks from now, going forward.
Awesome. Any other questions that we can answer for you? Okay, so someone says, for the research, where does the information come from for the blogs and that type of thing?
The research, we replicated a search that an author would do. So let's say a particular author is looking for a particular genre to review. So we have done exactly that. We've gone out looking for, let's say it's I'll use a fiction example. Let's say it's noir fiction. So we went out and we searched the internet looking for people or groups, individuals that are interested in noir fiction, and collected that information and put it into the database. And when you do send out, the thing about Storyad that makes it different than Mailchimp, for example, and this may be for that person who asked earlier about Mailchimp, The difference between Storiad and Mailchimp is with Storiad, you have to send out each email one at a time. And this one adheres to the very strict anti-spam laws in both the US and the UK. And two, it really does increase the probability of the chances of your email showing up in the inbox as opposed to the spam filter of your target recipient. And one of the reasons is that Storyad has a very, very high rating. Is that, you know, Google, for example, knows that Storyad is not a spammer or is it related to any spamming. So it gives us a very clean, you know, anything coming out of our servers gets a very clean bill of health. So that's why, you know, things get sent out one by one. Plus, you know, as it's a legitimate business request that you're asking somebody to review or buy your book. And so, so the information we have there is good, and the way it's handled and emailed is it really does increase the chances of it getting there as opposed to, you know, sending out a blast from Mailchimp, which a lot of times ends up in the junk folder.
Awesome. We had another question on emails while we're on the subject.
Yes.
Can we add our own list for emails? If so, do they remain our property, or does Storyad subsequently have the right to use those names?
No, never. The answer is not yet. We are working on creating a parallel database in which you can upload all your emails, all your contacts into it, and add any contact you do. And that's in the process, but it's quite a project. So at present, it's only the Storyad database that you can access. But when we do roll out the new version where the parallel database that is only yours, it is only yours, and we have no access to it, and your information is coded, and we have no access to it, and we never take ownership of it, et cetera, et cetera. And we are vehement about data protection. And copyright protection, obviously. So, so I hope that answers your question. But for now, it's just the 41,000 plus data. But I mean, you know, if you do have an extensive, contact list, you know, that person who asked about, you know, using Storyad in parallel to Mailchimp, that's a perfect example of you know how the two can work, you know, side by side if need be.
Right. Someone asked, what's your recommended time for upcoming authors to spend on marketing?
It depends. It depends on I love that question because it's the economist's favorite question because you know, the economist's favorite response. I'm an economist by training. Is the response of the economist is always, well, it depends. In this case, it depends. It depends on, you know, how many units you want to sell. When I'm doing my own marketing for Gutter Snaps, I'm doing a deliberate regimen of what we recommend in our marketing plan, which is 1 hour a day. So I spend 7 hours a week on marketing, pre-marketing Gutter Snaps. Now, of course, you can do 14, you can do 3. You know, it's really up to you. But you know, for us, it seems getting to 1 hour a day is a really good habit. And people who have gotten into that habit will email us with a lot of really positive feedback saying, I just now get up in the morning and, you know, have my coffee, et cetera, my muffin. And then the very first thing I do from 8:30 to 9:30 is market, right? And that, you know, that's the rhythm they get into. And I think if you ask more than an hour, it gets a little too much, you know, too heavy-handed. And if you ask too little, I think it doesn't seem as real. So psychologically, I'm hoping, you know, going through it that you know, I will continue to do this 1 hour a day. So long, sorry for such a long-winded answer. The marketing plan in the marketing plan wizard recommends 1 hour a day, and I found that it's 1 hour a day really does help to get in the rhythm of it, and our feedback sort of supports that position.
Awesome. Okay, a question about just upgrading for Storyad. So
Yes.
If they use the discount code, so if
Yes.
they decide to do the free 7-day trial first and then upgrade to Pro later after their trial, will their discount code still work, the PWA 25?
Okay, when you go to Storyad, you go to pricing, you're going to see 3 options. The first option is something called Forever Free, The second option is something called Pro. The third option is Enterprise. So Enterprise is just for publishers. So we're dealing with the first two. If you go, start off as forever free, because you're going to get a lot of the stuff that you saw for free, and you can poke around. So that's the forever free. So it's kind of like LinkedIn. You get, you know, the basic one free. But if you want to access the database and the marketing plan and the e-press kit and the video, that's part of the Pro plan. So you put in the PWA 25, and then with that you get 7-day free trial of the Pro plan. And then you can cancel anytime before the 7 days is over, and nothing will, and your card won't be charged. But if you like what you see, and then after 7 days, your card will be charged. So the free in regards to Pro is you get the 7-day free trial for Pro. Otherwise, if you stick with the forever free, it's free for as long as you want, but it has obviously less features. And another caveat is, if you put information into your Pro, and then you want to take a sort of a break from marketing, and you suspend your account, we store your information in our databases for 7 years. So you can always come back and restart, and boom, everything will be there. And a lot of authors do that if they take time off from marketing. If they take, say, the summer off marketing, they come back in the fall and winter for the holidays. So that's there. Unless if you want everything deleted, of course, you just let us know, and we'll vaporize the whole thing for you.
Awesome. Okay. Here's a question. Will it be effective to promote my book only through my own website, which will be free for me?
Of course. I mean, it's just really, how are you going to drive traffic to your website? That's the question, right? So your site exists there, and it looks good, and it has all this great information, but the trick is getting people to go there. And how are you going to get people to go there? That's the thing. And that's what Storyad addresses. It addresses of, finding the people, having the right, systematic approach to finding the people, to drive them, in this case, to your media kit, which in turn can drive them to your website, which in turn can drive them to the buy link. So it's really about driving traffic to your site. And that's the $1 million question. Some people try to use Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, things like that. But once again, how do you get people to engage with your social media platform? And that's sort of reactive marketing. You're using somebody else's platform to try to drum up interest in your content. With proactive marketing, and publicity, what we're advocating here, is you are defining the parameters, and you're saying, this is the market I want to target, finding who comprises this market, getting their information, and then going to them and saying, hey, I exist. Here's what I have. This is why it's valuable to you. Come see what I have. And then, making it easy for them to come, either visit your press kit or visit your website. And they come to your site and say, oh, I do like this, and then go from there. So really, it's not about just having a presence. A presence is easy. I mean, a presence is easy, and it can be free. The tricky thing is making that presence known, and you have to be proactive. And that's what Storyad is attempting to help authors do. Be proactive in a systematic, affordable way.
Great. Someone says, how often do you recommend sending emails out? And is there a way to tell if the person who receives your email buys the book?
Well, I mean, the sending out, that's a great question. Sending out. I would say the way I do it is, and the way a lot of authors do it, and I have a little group, by the way, that we all sort of exchange notes on every other Friday. We set a schedule. Say, I'm going to send X amount of emails out this week, and then work towards doing that. And then we all have follow-up schedules. I'm going to follow up with these emails, because a lot of times people are, especially if it's a really nice, and I try to make my emails very conversational, very professional, very quid pro quo, meaning that, I want to help you, and this is what I'm looking for in return from help from you. So I'm establishing a contact with this person, because I don't necessarily just want them to buy it once. I don't necessarily want them to review it once. I want to be able to say, hey, I know somebody else who you may like, or, it's just sort of, create that network. So that depends on how you want to approach your strategy of emailing. So I approach it in, I set a number I'm going to send out. I have the follow up, and I structure them in such a way. Now, as far as knowing who actually bought it, no. You can use, we are integrating Google Analytics, and that's forthcoming. Things got pushed back because of this COVID thing, but hopefully early first quarter of next year, we're going to be implementing a Google Analytics that helps you track the sort of life of your ePress kit out there in the wild. And that will probably, if somebody clicks on the, let's say Amazon, I know not everybody's crazy about Amazon, but as an example. So somebody clicks on Amazon through your media kit and buys it, Google Analytics will be able to track that. So that's one way of knowing. Of course, if somebody sees it and then comes back 2 days later and goes to Amazon on their own and buys it, no, we can't find out who that is. But I mean, you can also, statistically speaking, if your book sales are at say 10, and then you start doing all your emailing and all the good stuff with your press kit, and suddenly your sales go up to say 100, just to use easy numbers, then you can probably say, I think I just increased my book sales by a factor of 10 just by doing this. So I hope that answered your question.
Great. And then the last question we have is there a bad time of year to launch a book, for instance, when all the main publishing houses are launching theirs?
I mean, people in the industry will say that the vast majority of book sales occur around Christmas. I should say the holidays, right? Between, say, Thanksgiving and all the holidays and the New Year and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, statistically speaking, that's probably true, or it used to be true. But the data now shows that it's not so much true anymore, especially in print on demand and on all these indie authors, a lot of sort of hybrid publishing going on. So, people are buying books year round. People, especially, digital copies. And I really cannot stress how much audiobooks have just gone through the roof. It's crazy. I mean, we get people all the time asking us, do you know any people who can help me make a video? An audiobook. So, when you're out there, make sure you have a physical copy, an e-copy, and an audio copy of your book. And your audio copy is going to sell year round. Maybe the digital copy will sell during certain months, and maybe the physical copy will sell around the holidays, when you're giving it to somebody for a present. That tends to be, the look and feel of it. But it's a year-round thing. I think the doldrums, like almost anything else, is August, late July through Labor Day, in the U.S. and Canadian markets. That tends to be the lowest period. But all the other periods are heavily trafficked. So, if you do it 1 hour a day, you'll be in a really good position to take advantage of the highs and even capture a little bit of the lows. If you do it year over year.
Great. Well, I think those are all of the questions that we had. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us. Again, if you would like to try Storyad or use Storyad, you can use the code PWA25 to get 25% off. Thank you all so much for joining us. Ramzi has been generous enough to offer to send us his slide deck. So I will be sending that out with the replay for this. And again, thank you so much for your time today, Ramzi. This was really, really helpful, and everyone really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather. I very much appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.